Hi, this is the Magnificent Midlife podcast, and I'm Rachel Lancaster. This is where we celebrate women in midlife and beyond. We challenge the status quo and bash those negative stereotypes about being an older woman. We're not over the hill at 40, 50, 60. We're just getting started, and the world needs us now more than ever. I'll be talking all things midlife, about issues that matter, and sharing fabulous stories of amazing women doing very cool stuff. Now is our time. My guest today is Elizabeth Joseph, and Elizabeth describes herself as a social media menopause guinea pig. She's on a journey of perimenopausal transformation. We're going to be digging into what that means. So welcome, Elizabeth.
Hi.
So I'm going to ask you straight off, what on earth do you mean by calling yourself a social media menopause guinea pig?
Well, it's just kind of happened. So I was doing a lot of stuff just on my own before I joined Instagram. I've been on Instagram for a year. And once I worked out I was in perimenopause, I just started trying lots of different natural approaches and products with the view actually to write a very short anonymous guidebook detailing everything that I tried. And my kids suggested that I went on Instagram. I was on no social media at all. And so I started talking about all the different things I was trying. And I think because they were slightly out there, it drew a lot of attention. And obviously it drew attention from people who wanted me to try their natural approaches and products. So I've tried an array of things, from mouth taping via womb massage, hypnotherapy, distance reflexology, magnets, Tabasco. I could go on and on and on. I've tried a huge number of different ways to combat perimenopause symptoms, and kind of feel like I'm taking a bit more control of the situation, but also, as bizarre as it sounds, actually having a bit of fun along the way, I think.
That seems definitely the theme of your Instagram feed, I have to say, is that you're having fun,
Yeah,
and you're just messing about with some silliness and seeing what might work and what obviously doesn't work.
yeah,
And I think it is fun, because so many people can get so serious about menopause, can't they? It can be just a real doom and gloom, and it's just something we struggle through, and I don't think it needs to be like that.
And I think it can scare people. I think part of the reason that I didn't know what was going on, that I had to discover it for myself, that women aren't talking to each other about it, is that it is quite scary. And that kind of feeling that, like, oh my God, am I going to get that and that? Well, no, not necessarily. But there are lots of kind of maybe slightly embarrassing or strange symptoms that we get that we don't talk about. And if I'm joking about fart pants, or I'm joking about, smelling my armpits of a morning, going, good Lord, I've literally had women DMing me saying, thank you for putting that on. I thought it was just me. Because no one's talking about it. So rather than, oh my God, this could happen, if you're kind of doing it with humour, you're getting people talking and actually, hopefully, helping people to understand they're not on their own in this weird time.
One of my mottos is be prepared, not scared.
Oh,
I think that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that. That's genius. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it can be I was really scared. I didn't know what was going on for a good couple of years. Genuinely, no idea what was happening to me. And I think that's the other thing. Through my daft posts and, experiments, I can get a hell of a lot of honesty in there as well. This is how I feel. This is what's going on. Even if people are just laughing about how daft it is, at least they're talking about perimenopause, and that's all I want.
Exactly, and it just takes that sort of seriousness out of it. It takes the sting out of it, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But I've heard from so many women that kind of embarrassment around it. A physiotherapist was telling me that when she realised what was going on, she ordered some supplements over the internet because she didn't want to go into a shop, and then she got a big black marker pen and marked out menopause so her partner couldn't see that that's what it was for. And numerous other stories linked to that. And I think just if we can have a laugh and a joke and a bit of a share about it, then it just kind of makes it less of a taboo, hopefully.
Exactly. I mean, that was my response when I when I got the diagnosis of early menopause in the doctor's office, I was literally, I was like, pardon, what?
Yeah.
How can this possibly be? I mean, first I was 41 and I just immediately thought of myself as a shriveled up old prune. And as I've
Yes.
said many times on this
Yes.
podcast, nobody had actually said that to me. But that is so much what society, Western society, particularly Anglo society, America, UK, Australia, because we worship youth, therefore menopause is supposedly the end of youth because it's the end of our fertility. Therefore, it's the end of meaningful life.
Yeah.
And that's awful that woman was literally
Yeah.
writing out menopause.
Yeah.
Because I want us to celebrate menopause. That's where I'm coming from. And I think you're doing that, aren't you, in a way, because you're creating something that is completely new in terms of how people talk about menopause
Yeah.
and relate to menopause and interact with it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I think you're so right, though, that it is linked to aging and, that idea of like, do we become invisible? Are we not useful now? And I think that's why, again, why it is a taboo and that women don't want to talk to each other, at the school gates or at work or wherever. I mean, I think close-knit friendship groups do, but I think it isn't the kind of thing you would chat about, like, pregnancy or, what school to send your kid to or this, that and the other, where, people are more than happy to give you all sorts of input, whether you want it or not. I mean, when I was pregnant, people would follow me up the street, giving me advice and sharing their birth stories with me.
Really?
Like, genuinely, I was massive. I do not have a welcoming face, so I don't know. I think it's just you have a big belly and they think they can share stuff. But perimenopause, nothing at all. And I think you're right, it's linked to an aging thing. But the other thing that you said, to be celebrated, I think is such a good point. Because when I first came onto Instagram and I was, working out how on earth it worked and following certain people, I kept reading these posts that were like, this is the best time in your life. You will emerge from this as an amazing, a butterfly, and you will find the real you and you'll step into your power. And they really annoyed me. I was like, what? What? What on earth?
Surprised you're talking to me then.
But because you don't, when you're in the middle of it, or even rather you're in the middle of it, but you're just realizing what's going on, to hear that this is the best time of your life, it's like, are you kidding me? But literally in the last 12 months, I get it. It is amazing.
Do you? Oh, good.
Totally. I'm still up and down, and it comes in waves, but I can see. I can't remember who said to me this really great phrase of like, it's like you're building the plane as you're flying it. It's like I'm starting to understand. I've gone from seeking to be invisible to genuinely feeling a different strength, a different power. But when I say different, it isn't something I got from outside of me. It's been in there the whole time. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all, but I can feel I'm in my cocoon. It's still a bit messy in here, but I know that I will emerge, a lot bolder and braver than I entered. I think it's an amazing.
Well, look
time.
at you already. You're on Instagram talking about fart pants.
and suddenly in my back
would
alley.
you have done that?
No.
Would you have done that before menopause?
Exactly.
No, of course not.
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, definitely. Because when I first started on Instagram, I didn't put my photo on. My profile picture, I didn't have myself on at all. It was stock photos. And within about 6 months, I'm in my back alley, standing next to my husband's motorbike in period pants. I mean, no, not my wildest dreams. And that. So I posted that on a Saturday, I think. Yeah. And on a Friday. On the Saturday, the period pants company, Wucker, put it in their story. So I sent them an email saying, oh, thanks very much. I'm all for pro-age images. Us ladies in perimenopause, we're big business when it comes to period pants because our periods go all over the place. I actually wrote, I cringe now, it would be lovely to see a silver sister in one of your ad campaigns. And the next day I was on a train going down to take part in an advertising campaign because I just invited myself along. Insane.
It's amazing. I mean, I think it's brilliant that you did that. brilliant that you put yourself forward.
Yeah.
Brilliant that you said, let's get a silver sister in this image. There's so much goodness in that.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic, really fantastic. But that's not the fart pants. Come on, I've said fart pants three times now.
They're absolutely incredible.
Tell us about the fart pants.
So actually, years ago, my sister sent me a link to this company called Shreddies that make fart filtering technology, underpants, cushions, pajamas, jeans. They even have something called I can't remember, the banana, the carbon banana. It's like something that just fits into your pants that you can wear on aeroplanes. Anyway, basically,
sounds a bit rude. A carbon banana in your pants.
I've got it wrong. I've got the name wrong. But basically, all of them have a carbon lining so that your wind passes through the carbon lining and it doesn't smell. So you can do nothing about.
But it still makes a noise, presumably.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no soundproofing in that.
Nothing about the sound at all. But the thing is, so I used to go and pick my daughter up from school, and I would sit in the car with the windows open, and I would read my book for 20 minutes before they came out of school. And I'd have to have the windows open because I had such really bad wind, which is a perimenopause symptom that does not get talked about. I talk about it all the time.
That's not one I know about.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, because your estrogen, as your estrogen goes down and your cortisol levels go up, it becomes kind of a fight or flight thing. And what happens when you're trying to fight or flight, you have to switch off your digestion, and it can hugely affect your digestion. And I had a school mum knock on the window to come and have a chat with me, and it was a cold day, and I'd had the windows up. And I've been sitting there for a good 20 minutes, happily farting away. It was, she didn't see the look of sheer terror on my face when she's knocking on the door just for a chat. After about 5 minutes, she said to me, "Have you got that stomach bug that's going around?" I was like, "Yeah." I have. Absolutely awful. So I've tried the whole lot. It was for this guidebook that I was going to write, that I was writing. I tried the pajamas, all of them, and they do work. And the thing is, they are actually, for people who really do suffer with Crohn's disease or different issues that mean that they can't control their wind. And I'm sure they're an absolute godsend, and they have been a godsend for me. The cushion doesn't work. The cushion, because with the cushion you have to sit in an upright position and ease your wind out slowly so that it works. And I don't seem to be capable of easing my wind out slowly. So my son sits on the, my husband calls it the guff muffler.
The guff muffler. Oh my goodness, that is hilarious.
Yeah, so they're a personal favourite.
I need to look into this for my beloved. But also, do they have them for cats?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. You should suggest
I have a farty cat.
Oh my God, how funny. How funny. Maybe you could fashion something out of the cover of the guff muffler and just, fit it around your cat's bum. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, what silliness. This is the epitome, I think, of your Instagram, isn't it? It's just utter silliness.
Yeah,
and it's
totally.
Very, very funny. So have you always done this sort of thing? Because you do things to camera and you do it. Is it Aunt Fanny? Who is it?
Lady Fanny. Lady Fanny, yeah.
Lady Fanny.
That's a classic,
Have you always
actually.
done things like that?
No. I think the Lady Fanny thing is because she always talks about the embarrassing stuff, and it's a bit like a Les Dawson thing, isn't it? We always put like a bit of voice on when we're embarrassed. No, 100 years ago, I went to drama school, so I think I am a natural show-off, and I certainly was always very happy to be a show-off and centre of attention, basically until perimenopause hit and I didn't know what was going on, and I totally retreated and I totally sought to become invisible for quite a few years, not quite knowing what was going on, with aches and pains and mood swings and feeling, of a futility and impending doom. I just completely hid myself away type thing. And it's almost like, people talk about a second spring or a second puberty or whatever, perimenopause. It's like I'm as much of a show-off as I used to be, which is with a little bit more, I think, to be honest. So I do like it very much. I kind of wrote my book about one of the reasons that I was never warned about perimenopause was that I had sort of stepped back from being in the company of women. I didn't feel comfortable in the company of women. And the kind of the 3 reasons that I wasn't comfortable are the 3 reasons that I do really well on social media. So ridiculously honest. I don't know how to not be honest. And so I kind of struggled in the pretending everything was all right in your life with, young kids and all of that in the company of women. My weird sense of humour. I've had quite a few tumbleweed moments at the school gates where I've made a joke and there's just been complete silence. I remember once saying to a school mum that I love my kids most when they're fast asleep or at school. And she just said nothing. It was just absolutely mortifying. There was just like, that wasn't funny. And then the third reason is because I love talking about myself. So those 3 things have meant that I don't do well at kids' parties, but do quite well on Instagram, I think.
Well, you seem to have a lot of self-understanding, which is good.
Yeah, and I think that's why Instagram's been amazing as well. Because like I say, I think because on my page I make it clear that I don't get paid to promote anything. I don't take any kind of commission or anything like that, so I can be honest about what I'm talking about. And I've been approached by lots of different women asking me to try different things, and that's included coaches and hypnotherapists, and I've just gone, oh yeah, I'll do that, oh yes, I'll try that, okay, I'll do that. And actually that's the whole kind of building the plane as I'm flying it. I've learned so much. It's been so useful. I wouldn't have ever thought, oh, I'll pay for a coach and learn to deal with this or look at this, or I didn't know what a limiting belief was. I'd never heard of a limiting belief. I didn't know I had limiting beliefs that are holding me back. I do. It turns out I do. I didn't know what self-care was. I had no idea what self-care even meant. So I think it's kind of, I've gone, yes, I'll try all of this. Isn't that lovely? But actually, it's been so massively beneficial to me. It's been quite something.
There's a lot to learn, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I always think, we need to know about it much sooner, as you said, so that we're not floundering around for the first 2-3 years. Because that was me. I was just floundering around and lost and didn't know who I was anymore.
Yeah.
And because so much of the language is negative, so much is about loss rather than actually about gain and what we gain by going through this transformation. That it just becomes overwhelmingly negative, doesn't it? Which makes it so difficult, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why your phrase is absolutely spot on. Be prepared, not scared. Absolutely spot on.
Because, knowledge is power, isn't it? The more we know, but we need to know lots more. There's detail in here that we need to know about so that we can cope much better, so that we can, it sounds like, platitude, but we can thrive, not just survive. It really is as simple as that, isn't it? Because I don't want women to just survive through this time in life. I think we really can thrive. So I love what you're doing.
Thank you. I think that is the most important thing, because kind of back to that wanted or unwanted advice and suggestions and too much information for those women who went through pregnancy. Why are we not doing that perimenopause? I'd rather have too much information. I'd rather have too many people giving me their suggestions and their advice to what, as you say, you and I were faced with, which was a deafening wall of silence. Absolutely not. I didn't even know the word perimenopause existed. Menopause, yes, and that's when your periods stop. That's all I knew. I didn't know any of the other stuff and also, again, back to, you can have early menopause, you can have, menopause at any time, but often it's at a time where you're in that sandwich generation, of possibly looking after elderly parents and younger kids, or, empty nest syndrome, or all sorts of stuff. Basically, life can be giving you a good kicking, and it's very easy to mistake all the stuff that's going on as just being that. I mean, I've had women who follow me who are well past menopause going, oh my God, that's what was going on. I'm reading your stuff and realising it wasn't just that this awful thing had happened and this awful thing had happened, and it was my hormones. They never knew. And I just everything I do is with humour. It is motivated by pure rage that nobody told me. I was absolutely furious. How on earth could I have stumbled into this major life stage completely oblivious? And we are by no means on our own. It's insane.
It's most women. It's most
Yeah.
women. It really is. And I think because of the shame aspect, then people don't talk about it. When things start to happen, it takes a while until you realise that something is different. And then, you know, if you even dare go near the word menopause, which so many women won't, as you said with this lady that you described, blotting out the word menopause. If we even go there, then we hide it, you know, because we're ashamed of it. So we don't open up and talk about it. And it's just pants, really. It's just silly. So that's why I do. That's why I do what I do, you know, because I don't want any woman to feel like that anymore. For heaven's sake, it's 2022 and it's ridiculous that, you know, women are still going into perimenopause and feeling shame about it. And, you know, not talking about it and not knowing about it, not knowing what's going on, which is why you get that issue, you know, when women get brain fog and they think they've got early onset Alzheimer's. And
absolutely
for
terrifying.
goodness sake, it's about bloody time we'd stop that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because then that fear and anxiety, it makes it even worse.
Yeah, all of it impacts, doesn't it? Your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviour, just you get this awful cycle. Yeah, I agree. I think it's it's just, it can be really, really scary. So good on us.
So let's talk. Yeah, good on us. Good on us. So tell me about some of the other things you've tried, some of the weirder things that you've tried.
Goodness me, so many things, and stuff that I'm not, you know, sort of necessarily that comfortable with. So I kept reading about cacao ceremonies. I didn't really understand what they were, and it seemed to happen after people went cold water swimming. And I just thought, was it like a bit of hot chocolate to have to warm you up? And I did this because, of course, most things have been online because of lockdowns and this, that, and the other. So I tried an online cacao ceremony, and I just sort of become deeply uncomfortable. And I was, this lovely, lovely lady who calls herself the menopause rock star sent me this, you know, ceremonial cacao, and I had to warm it up and whisk it, and there were all these songs that I was supposed to sing and these chants I was supposed to do. Well, I was doing that, and I'm just like terribly British. Like, I'm not doing that. And it's kind of the kind of slightly more woo-woo stuff, but when you give into it, is actually quite powerful. But I think that the one I struggled with the most was distance reflexology. So I'd done
distance reflexology.
Distance reflexology. And
okay, again, how does that work?
Just like, this lady was so wonderful. But so I thought it would be, I'd done a guided womb massage via Zoom. So I assumed it would be a similar sort of thing. You know, I didn't think too closely on it. You know, distance reflexology. Okay, so going to be guided. I'm probably going to be massaging my own feet. But the lady explained to me that, you know, because of lockdown, lots of practitioners had been, you know, trialing this, and basically this lovely lady sat in her kitchen imagining my feet, and I lay on my sofa with my socks off, and I didn't believe her right up until the point that she ended the WhatsApp chat, and she said, you know, we'll chat again in half an hour when I finish the treatment. So she's sitting there and I'm lying on the sofa, and I was like, I couldn't do it. I was just like, I was imagining her sitting in her kitchen smoking a fag and reading the paper. But when I did relax and give into it, I started to feel a tingle in my feet. And I was like, oh my God, it actually worked.
Did you?
Which just freaked me out. And then I really needed the loo. And I thought, if I go to the loo, will she know that I went to the loo? Will she know that I kind of nicked off halfway through the treatment? But every time I relaxed, I could feel something in my feet. But I love posting. But that's the thing. I think if you can give into it, but this kind of thing I love to post about, because you get loads of responses. 50% are like, what a load of old nonsense. I hope you didn't pay for that. That's just ridiculous. And then the other 50% are like, oh yeah, distance healing. I totally believe in distance healing. I believe that people can be empaths, that they can heal people. I mean, and it's just incredible. So that's kind of it's the more woo-woo stuff that I found really quite enjoyable, because I never would have tried anything like that before. But yeah, I think distance reflexology, that I found that the most difficult to really get my head around, I think, to be honest. And with the womb massage, I got the giggles when the lady said I should talk to her. I should talk to my womb and thank my womb. And they said I had to pretend I was coughing because I got the giggles. That was quite something. And another one, I could talk all day. The other one was a sound bath. And I did it via Zoom, and loads of women have said to me, "Oh no, it's much better if you're in the room because you can feel as these different gongs are being bashed around. You can feel the vibration going through you." Well, this one again through the wonder of Zoom, and the lady did all the binglies and the bongles, and it was lovely, and I was relaxing. I was really relaxing, but then she started chanting. Now, luckily, I had my camera off because I started to giggle. And then I told myself off and I tried to calm down. But she chanted for 5 minutes and I laughed hysterically for 5 minutes. I mean, I was hysterical. Every time I told myself off, I started off again. I mean, she didn't know. But then when I wrote the post, I always send the post to the lovely lady that's let me try out her product or her approach. And this woman was cool as anything because she went, "That's brilliant. I love it. You got exactly what you needed," which was complete release. "I love what you've written." And that's what I keep finding, that these women really believe in what they're doing and they're cool as anything. And she was like, "Yeah, put that on. That's hilarious." So it's, quite the voyage of discovery.
What you got was laughter therapy.
Yeah, exactly. And
and
I felt
so. Yeah,
brilliant.
She's right. That was what you needed, and you got it, didn't you?
Yeah.
I do find that is a journey of menopause that we are forced to let go.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us go into menopause being really uptight. I know I was really uptight.
I still am. Yeah, absolutely. It's taken a long time.
It's a process of letting go and reconnecting with our body.
Yeah.
Which you're doing in very proactive ways, with your womb massage and your reflexology and all of that. But I think menopause is absolutely that time of life when we have to stop, pause. We do actually need to pause, because I know there's that campaigns like "Me, no pause, menopause, no pause. I'm on the go as I ever was." But actually, it's a time when we do need to stop and to rethink how we live and rethink how we interact with things. And you're really doing that in a very proactive way.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think I felt that really strongly. Because I write, I have a column in a local magazine called Women of a Certain Rage. And one of the things that I did as research was kind of looking at different ways of kind of reclaiming joy in midlife. And one of the things I tried was an over 55s hang aerial class, which was like trapeze work and climbing up silks, and there's some weird contraption you did headstands in. Now, these women were like 15, 20 years older than me. I'm not kidding. I bent down to get my mobile phone out my handbag and nearly passed out with a head rush. And there's a 65-year-old woman doing a headstand. But with help, I got up on this trapeze and I stood up. I'm going to go again. And I burst into big, snotty tears. Because for the first time since I think I was a kid, I just felt free and, I don't know, not kind of trapped in this achy body type thing, which sounds over the top, but it is that letting go. I didn't let go, but you know what I mean? It was just that feeling of release and freedom, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So I get what you were all on about now.
Well, I think as we go through life, we put on layers, don't we? We put on armor.
Yeah.
We experience things, and then that gets accumulated onto us as who we are because we had that experience, and that may come on as armor or as something else. But it's like the onion. We put on all of these layers. And I think in menopause, and especially with what you're doing, the way you're approaching it, it's about peeling back the layers. We're starting to get them off so that we can get back to who we actually fundamentally are underneath all of our layers that we've accumulated.
Yeah, massively. Not becoming someone else or looking for your power outside of yourself or your strengths outside yourself. It's there. Yeah, I love that. I love that way of describing it. Absolutely. And it's hard and it's a messy process and it can be a bit scary, but oh my God, It's so worth it because I'm going to live until I'm 100. So I've got another 50 years.
Me too.
Exactly. And I want them to be really good 50 years, not weighed down by all these, crappy onion layers.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love it.
I know. So there you go. We just peel off all our layers and away we go.
Definitely.
So I think that's why I get very excited. I get excited about menopause, I'm just
but I do.
woman.
I get it now. Yeah, no, I do. I get it now. I really didn't, though. I really didn't. I was like, what on earth are you talking about?
It is. It's hard to explain it. I'm sure there are many people out there who just think, I'm just off my rocker. I'm just bonkers.
No, I think it's spot on. Absolutely.
I will keep banging the drum because eventually it is a good thing. It is a good thing.
Definitely.
So I've got to ask you about the magnets because I thought that was a lovely little story that you told about the magnets.
Well, they're quite something actually. So the idea is that you put them. It's probably got a special name. I think it's like on the second knobbly bit on your spine, the back of your neck. And the idea is that you stick these magnets on, and they're to help with hot flushes. And the kids kept trying to. My kids are so sort of involved in all of this. Like neither my daughter's not going to stumble into perimenopause, and my son is going to be, possibly the best husband going because they're so clued up. Like their jokes about brain fog is known as the brain frog in our house because they know exactly what's going on. If I start saying the wrong word, they just start joking about the brain frog. But with these magnets, they kept going, please, mummy, please, can we push you against the fridge? Please, can we see if you'll attach yourself to the fridge? But, not all magnets for perimenopause are created equally. These things do not stick you to anything. But I got loads of comments on the post that I did about it, about some other magnets that were for menopause, and all these stories of women attaching themselves to large pieces of medical equipment, or this other,
really?
Yes, and this lady who worked with another lady in a haberdasher's years ago. It sounds like Mrs. Slocum or something, and she would get herself attached to metal rulers and things like that because she had this magnet on. So I don't know what these magnets were, but my one wasn't. Wouldn't actually attach you to anything, and I couldn't really tell if it worked for me or not. That's the other thing. A lot of these kind of natural approaches and stuff, it's so very difficult. And I kind of written in the book, that I think that I was it probiotics I tried, and I was like, with absolutely no scientific rigor whatsoever, I think they've lessened my wind by 80%. It's very difficult to actually, the fact that I'm a complete non-expert is actually to my advantage because I don't have to go, well, here's the research and this. I tried them for me and I think they worked. I'm not sure. You can try them. But, but also different things work for different people. It's the same thing about people giving you advice on how to bring up your children and pregnancy and, giving birth and all of that. Everything's worked for different people, but it doesn't stop them. That sounds so rude, but it doesn't make women hold back on sharing their experiences. So why not, try a magnet, try this, try the other.
Yeah, your personal experience is in no way diminished because you don't have a certificate saying, you are this, that, and the other.
Yeah, and I think there's a real space for that. I think, there will be lots of books written by experts and lots of books written by celebrities. It's starting to happen, but I think there's a really clear space for the real woman, as it were. We're all experts of our own experience, and we're not preaching. We're just saying, look, this is what's out there. Get talking about it. Even if you're just laughing at me, you're reading about it and you're becoming better informed, and it's becoming less taboo, hopefully.
So your book is already out there, is that right?
No. Goodness me. So it started life as I wanted it to be a completely anonymous guidebook. Just like a counter book. You pick up.
You messed that up, didn't you?
Totally. Well, that's what I initially sent out to literary agents and publishers. This very kind of, as I say, anonymous. I wanted it to be like a guidebook to a city. You don't care who's written it. You don't care particularly, their experience of, going to the wherever or eating at the wherever. You just, want to know what's out there, and then you'll try for yourself. And I got nice feedback that said, yes, you can write, but I don't really like this format. Make it about yourself. Make it your story. So that's how the Instagram changed from, just stock photos and no profile picture, not putting myself out there, to literally put myself out there in my pants. And that's what the book's become, kind of a both a guidebook through all these different menopause guinea pig things that I've tried, but also my story arc, I suppose, and the whole, actually stepping into my power. All the stuff that we've been talking about. Like, I love the idea that female orcas, killer whales, once they pass menopause, they lead their pods. Get in. So it's kind of, look, this is a whole lot of bonker stuff I've tried, but also the stuff that we've been talking about. Look, watch me. You'll see me going from this invisible, housewife who literally didn't want to leave the house to, inviting myself onto, a menopause panel to talk at a mental health festival and standing in my pants in the Daily Mail and leading my pod or something.
So do you have a publisher for the book, and when is it coming out?
No, and that's the thing. Like, I really am a complete sort of, I was about nobody. That sounds awful, but that's the big thing that's come from perimenopause, is learning that I can write and that I enjoy writing. But I don't have an agent, I don't have a publisher, I don't have any of it. So at the moment I'm doing final edit, and then I'm going to send it out and see where I get to. But I'm not going to give up. So no, I don't have a publisher yet, but watch this space. Watch this space, I will have.
Well, I've just self-published mine. So
yeah, you see, that's, yeah.
You want any advice on that?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think, if I send it out and nothing is forthcoming, then I will definitely be asking how we go about it. I just know that my talents don't lie in that area. So if I can get help, I'd prefer it. But I just have to see how I go. And then it becomes the thing about publicity, doesn't it? Because we were saying that there are books by experts and books by celebs, and it's much easier for them to have an audience, and to, they're more likely to be publicised and be able to get their articles out there and get themselves on Loose Women. So that's how I would have to work out how to do that next.
Tell me about it. That's the challenge I currently have.
Yeah,
yes.
massively.
It's very hard.
But I think real women are interested in the experience of real women, and that, I think it's really important. So yeah, we do need to keep getting the message out there for sure.
So where do you think this new adventure is going to take you? Where are you going to go with it? I
think that perimenopause is going to turn out to be the best thing that ever happened to me, because as a result of it, because of the rage, I've always been quite content. I've never needed to make a noise about anything. I've never been hugely ambitious, but I'm going to come out of my perimenopausal cocoon as a writer. I am a writer, and I'm good, and I'm not going to give up. And I'm already planning the second book, which is going to be about navigating midlife in general, linked to this move that I've made to live in the country that has gone horribly, horribly wrong. So it's going to be some kind of the good life gone wrong. So that's what I will take out of this whole experience, the confidence to know that I can write, and I'm not going to stop because it makes me feel serene. We were chatting before about how difficult I find it to sit still, and how bad I am at self-care, and how much I don't like my own company. But if I sit and write, it's just, I just feel serene. I absolutely love it. So wow. That's been huge for me. That's my leading my pod. I am becoming a writer, and at 50, late bloomer, magnificent, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, that's what has happened for me, I think. Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. And
that's, you discovered talents you didn't even know you had.
Yeah, I love it. I just have to, stick with it. As you say, it's not, none of it's easy, and it's not just going to happen for you like that. I mean, the book started as a guidebook back in, it's not exactly back in, but 2020, and I'm just doing the final edit on what it's become now. So yeah, hard work, and even harder work to get to get it published and then to get publicity. But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to get an orca tattoo and follow my dream.
Yeah, be more whale.
Yeah, exactly. Love it.
So apart from, maybe it's one of the things you've already mentioned, but what's been the most surprising thing that you've experienced while you've been doing all of this? Oh, yeah, I think it'd be really difficult to pick
just one thing out. I think I did something called RTT, which is rapid transformational therapy, which I just said yes to without thinking too deeply on it. And that's been quite something. You know, the idea of limiting beliefs and kind of being taken back to different parts of your childhood and realizing why you have those limiting beliefs. And then for 30 days afterwards, you listen to this recording that the lady makes for you, and the idea is that you're kind of reprogramming your brain, you know, neuroplasticity, you're sorting out your neural pathways and changing things. And I didn't really think on it too deeply, and it had a huge effect on me. You know, I had quite the seismic I had quite the seismic wobble afterwards. It was quite disturbing, is too negative a word, but it was like, oh my goodness. And again, when I posted on that, lots of really positive, look, it's a messy time, it's perfectly normal. You know, menopause is where we go down into the basement and we look at all of our baggage and we decide what we want to take with us. But I don't think I'd entered into it particularly seriously, and I was quite surprised by kind of what it threw up. So I think that's had the most profound effect. But I think more than anything is that the reason I started all of this was a rage at the fact that no woman had warned me about it. But being on Instagram and doing the stuff that I'm doing, it is strong women like yourself who have supported me and advised me and educated me, and strong women who have allowed me to take the steps that I'm taking. So publishers or agents or the editor of the magazine or the founder of the period company who are going, yep, you can write a column, yep, you can be in this, yep, this isn't quite right, but have another go and I'll read it again. It's strong women. I had to have the strength to put myself out there, but it's strong women that are keeping me out there. So I think that's possibly the biggest revelation, is I'd retreated from the company of women, but it is women who have allowed me to make, you know, a bit of a noise about it all.
That's what I wanted to ask you about earlier and comment on, was that you said earlier that, you know, you had made yourself invisible. Mm-hmm. And I think that is what a lot of women do. Yeah. We complain about being invisible as we go into midlife, but often we make ourselves invisible. And you actually said that's what you've done. You had withdrawn. And I think
massively
so many women do withdraw, and it's all about ageism and sexism and everything else, and just life being a bit too difficult. And also, as I write about in my book, the U-curve of happiness. So do you know about the U-curve of happiness?
No.
The most unhappy time is 47.
Oh, wow.
And the beginnings and ends of our lives are the happiest times of our lives. And this is, you know, statistically researched, it is fact. And that 47 can be the unhappiest time of your life just because it's the middle of your life.
Oh, wow.
And I think knowing that we're going to come up afterwards is incredibly powerful. Yeah. And I write about how, you know, when we approach a big birthday, it's always difficult. And we always start thinking, oh, whatever, you know, I haven't achieved this by this birthday or done that, or I should be here or further along or whatever, or what am I going to do with the rest of my life? So, and 50, you can't pretend that 50 isn't a big birthday. It is a big birthday. So 47 being the unhappiest year of our lives, to me, there's no surprise. And I think menopause can get blamed for a lot of that unhappiness, but there's a lot of other stuff going on, and there's just the U-curve of happiness.
Oh, wow,
you know, it just happens to be the middle of life. It's interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But when you know these things, you can go, oh, okay, so it's going to get better, and it's bad just because it's bad. It's not me. It's not, you know, that I'm in some way peculiar, that I'm feeling like this. It's perfectly normal.
It is, as you said, knowledge is power, and that's the thing with that I, you know, I remember writing, like, knowing I was in perimenopause didn't actually change anything, but it changed everything. And I refer to I call perimenopause Hell Gorge, and that's why in my online it's, you know, navigating Hell Gorge, and that's the idea. I'm not ill. I'm not here forever. I'm just passing through. And I think that does really help. I would much prefer to have known I was about to go in rather than stumble in. But now I know I'm just passing through, and that I will come out the other side. But yeah, I think that's fascinating.
And you've decided not to take HRT, is that right?
Yeah, but it's not never say never type thing. And I think that's is an important thing, that for not for a second am I saying to anybody, you must navigate a natural path. It's got nothing to do with that at all. If I decided to take HRT, which I may well do, I know nothing, I am not informed at all. I would make sure I was informed. I would speak to women, I would speak to healthcare professionals, and I would see it as a positive choice. And what I'm talking about is, don't put your head down, don't grit your teeth, don't just get on with it. Find your path. And at the moment, mine happens to be, a natural path, that with the stuff that's available out there and some stuff that's really out there. But it isn't because it must be a natural path at all. So I don't talk about HRT because I don't know anything about it. But I would, if I felt I needed it, then I absolutely would go on HRT, no question at all.
And what would you most like other midlife, perimenopausal women to know?
Not so much no, more please just break down the deafening wall of silence. Please talk to each other. Even, I remember again doing a post about this saying, I'm quite good at talking about it on social media, but I'm not very good at doing it in real life, because I get the tumbleweed moments, because I get the uncomfortable reactions. And quite a few people said, there will be somebody in a group of women that you're talking to who will go, brilliant. They might not tell you, they might not say anything to you at all, but you will have made a difference to that one person. And I think we just need to talk about it to each other a lot more. I mean, my husband went to hospital recently and had to have blood tests, and the nurse came in and she went, I'm terribly sorry, I'm so hot and sweaty, I'm just having perimenopausal hot flushes. And how fantastic is that? Obviously he didn't go, oh God, what? Because he hears about it at home all the time. But that woman was comfortable enough just to be like, well, whatever. That's what I want. That's what I want women to be talking to each other in the same ways they would about any other life stage.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Magnificent Midlife podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, follow and share it. Also, giving a 5-star review really helps get the word out. You'll find the show notes at magnificentmidlife.com. That's also where you can get my book, Magnificent Midlife, Transform Your Middle Years, Menopause and Beyond. Make the very best of your next chapter. Help me change the world, one magnificent midlife woman at a time.